This couple paid off $14,000 in 90 days by making this one simple change. I had a couple that came to me a couple months ago, wanted some help, had been in some financial debt, was making north of six figures and couldn't figure out how to get out of it. So today we're going to take a look at what their financial situation is like and how we got out of that situation making this change. So I'm going to show you all their financials. We're going to go through an audit, and that way you can see, okay, what change did they make to get out of it in less than 90 days, which sounded crazy at the time, but we actually accomplished this goal. So let's take a look at what their situation looks like here today. So their income currently is $115,000 a year. So you're probably wondering, how in the world are they making this amount of money and they can't get out of debt? That means roughly they are making $9,700 a month after taxes. Their debt was $14,106 to be exact, and their goal was to get out of debt in 90 days. So the husband is currently making $6,500 a month, and the wife is making $3,200 a month. And I'm asking, what is your current budget situation? What does it look like? How many checking accounts do you have? Do you have savings, high yield savings, all of that stuff? And actually what it come to find out was they had one checking account. And that means that their finances were commingled. And what does that mean? That simply means that all their money was sitting in one account. And this may seem like, oh, that's not a big deal. I have one account. 83% of budgets in America are commingled. And where this becomes a problem is that means that you do have one account. But that means that all the dates between the 1st, the 2nd, the 15th, all of those things, there's a lot of different dates. You have your mortgage, you have a car payment, you have utilities, you have Wi-Fi, and you're having to keep up with it. And life is already stressful enough to where you shouldn't have to worry about that. So we implemented one simple system to help them to be able to alleviate stress and get out of debt. They're wondering, okay, well, what is that? I've never heard of this before. I use one account and I have not had the success that I need to. Well, today you're going to find out exactly what they did to get out of debt in 90 days. So let's take a look at what that looks like for them and what they actually did. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel to get more content just like this.
Are you struggling with debt or feeling like there's never enough at the end of each month? Or maybe you want to create more income, or maybe you want to start investing but don't know where to start? You're not alone, but you don't have to stay stuck there. The Earners Academy is a financial coaching program where we're helping countless individuals and families eliminate 3 to 4K in debt in less than 30 days, build full emergency funds in less than 90 days, and finally create financial margin inside of their budget. Through accountability, through a game plan, and through guidance, we'll help you on your way to financial freedom. So are you ready to take the first step? Book your consultation today and start building the financial future that you deserve.
So they joined our Earners Academy and our financial consulting program. And before, they had no margin. They felt like they had no money, and they felt like they were living paycheck to paycheck, even at north of six figures, which is simply what a lot of people say is the holy grail. When you get over six figures, things should be a lot lighter. I should be traveling the world. I should be experiencing freedom. Well, they didn't feel like, they felt like they were shackled. They felt like they could not move and that their finances were crippling them from doing the things that they wanted to do. So what did it look like after? Well, let's see exactly what happened. So we implemented what is called the Smart 7 budget system. May have never heard of it, may not understand exactly what that is, but today you'll find out that this is a system that actually helped them get to their goals. So we like to do what is called an audit inside of our program, and that is simply this. We want to see what your expenses are, what you actually should be having left over. And so their total expenses were actually about $6,500, $6,494 to be exact. Now remember, I said that they made $9,700, which means that their expected should be close to about $3,200 in margin, meaning that's what they should have left over after paying all their expenses. Well, why don't they have it? They don't have a plan. They don't have destinations for their money, and they don't have the right system in place with one checking account. And I keep emphasizing that because I'm going to show you exactly where the number 7 comes from in the Smart 7 budget system. So let's take a look at what actually the Smart 7 budget system looks like. And that means that their first account is going to be income. And that's simply a funnel. That means all their money goes into one account, and then we're going to disperse that into the other accounts. So the second account they're going to open, which is not in any particular order, these are just the names of the account. The second is going to be their recurring, which is going to be a lot of their fixed expenses, accounts that are just costs that don't really change, subscriptions, maybe your car insurance. That can also be in your day-to-day, which I'm going to talk about. But really more your expenses that do not change. So they had about roughly $1,300 in recurring expenses. Within their third account that they opened, and these are all checking accounts that they open. This is going to be their day-to-day, which is going to be things that may change over the course of a month. So that may be utilities, your water bill, even car insurance if you're maybe doing it. These things that you just use on a day-to-day basis. Their fourth account is going to be the home. And so that's going to be mortgage. If you decide you want to maybe do some home decor or some redecorating, that would go in this account. But most people put their rent or their mortgage in this account, and that's strictly just for that. And then 5 is going to be their giving account. So they decided they wanted to tie to their church. For you, it may be different. Maybe you want to give to maybe a simply family member, or maybe you want to give to a nonprofit. This is what that account is simply for. And then their last two accounts, which we will talk about here in a second, is their debt and their miscellaneous. So their debt is really paying off maybe how they're going to pay off their debt, maybe their minimum payments. We were trying to figure out exactly what their debt was and how we were going to attack it. So we did not put that in the beginning part of their audit. And then miscellaneous is going to be maybe your, fund money, let's call it allowance for some adults. But that's just money. Maybe if you want to use your savings and funnel it out of these accounts, you would put that in your miscellaneous. So that is going to be 6 and 7 for them. But this one part is the part that actually is what changed for them to help them be able to get what they needed. And that is the dispersion of the budget. And that is how we take their accounts and we put them separate, but also in one account. And we basically are going to disperse from each paycheck from each person into those right accounts. So let's look at the husband. The husband is making $6,500 a month. And so what we're going to do is take based on their pay period. So if we're going to look at it, these pay periods are different. So he's getting paid bi-weekly and she's getting paid weekly. So this looks different for each person, and we're going to talk about both. So remember, we talked about what their total recurring was, and their recurring was roughly about right around $1,300. So what we do in the dispersion is that we take that number and we split it amongst the two individuals in the couple. So he's paying about $889. Well, he is getting paid twice a month. So we're going to break that down. Every paycheck is what's going to happen is he's going to take $444.50, and then he's going to add that into his recurring account. He's going to do that twice a month, which is going to take him to $889. And then she getting paid once a week is going to take $110 basically. And really it's going to be a little bit over the $438 mark, but who cares if she has $2 left? That's great. She can save it later. But she's going to take $110 of her account each week, and she's going to put it in her recurring. And we're going to treat these accounts as buckets. So you're going to keep filling them up. And the reason for this is that as expenses come through, you can basically put them on auto pay and you don't have to worry about it because the money is already there. You don't have to worry about, well, did this get pulled out of this account? Is it low? Will I have any overdrafts? This system has helped a lot of our clients get out of debt in record time because now they can use and know where their other money is taking care of their other bills. They can now focus on their debt. And so she's going to take 110. This PPP means per pay period. And she's going to take, and that's going to fill up that account, and that's going to add up to the total that they need for their recurring for that month. And then we're going to go down to day to day. It's going to be the same principle. He's going to put in about $1,200 in each pay period. He's going to put about $604.50, $605, however you want to do the math. But you want to make sure that every pay period that you are taking this amount and putting it in that pay period. And what I love about this system is that one of the things I hear a lot of my clients talk about is when they get paid, they're confused. They're like, whoa, am I going to get paid? Well, when I get paid, well, what's going where? And, oh, did we pay this bill? Well, has this been paid? Well, inside using the Smart 7 system and the Smart 7 budget planner, they can now mark off and know, okay, well, I know from my recurring expenses, we paid off 5 of these bills. Okay, we have 5 bills left. So whatever is left in that bucket, they can then take whatever they have dispersed in that bucket and then pay the rest of their stuff off, because numbers are numbers. And if the math is correct, your money is going to be there if if you stay disciplined and you do not switch money around, you don't move it from one account to another. This is what is hopefully forcing a lot of the clients to stay in that. So let's jump right back into it. So then they have their home account, which is going to be roughly, he's going to be putting in $1,360 in there, and then she's going to be putting $670, and that's going to equal their total for their home. So their mortgage is taken care of, so we can check that off for them. And then we get to what their goal was. So we talked about, we didn't really know what the number was for them in month one. Well, they had a credit card that was about $1,270. So we implemented in that in their budget. We knew, okay, they want to pay off about almost $1,300 in debt. So we added this debt account and we put that number in there. And so the husband put in $851, $425 per pay period. And then she put in $419 total, but $105 every week to total up what she needed. And so giving the same thing, they came down, they decided what they were going to give for that month. And that's exactly what happened with them for them to be able to take care of it. And then miscellaneous, they decided, okay, we want to have some fun money. We want to have a little bit of money to be able to, go shopping. So here's the key that I like to tell a lot of my clients is, I do want you to pay off debt, but I also still want you to have a little fun, but within reason, with a number that you can make sure that you can still enjoy things. You don't have to eat ramen noodles all month, that you can still go and have a dine out with your wife or your partner and just make sure that you can still have fun, but we still need to accomplish our financial goals. So let's look at how this ended up wrapping up for them. You're probably wondering, well, did they actually achieve it and how did they get to it? So month one, we actually had a lot of success. We paid off we paid off that credit card, but also I think the main key here is they paid off their credit card, but they also still had margin. They still had money left over to go shop and have a good time. And that was the main key that they said. Remember when we talked, they felt like they had no margin. They felt like they couldn't breathe. But this next month was a very big month for them. So they actually ended up getting a Christmas bonus the next month. And that simply added more income for them. They simply had $4,850 on top. Well, they had a Christmas bonus and then they had extra checks. We know those months when you have 3 pay periods, those are some of the best months that we can have, right? And so this is a really key point I want to harp in on, though. A lot of people see these pay periods throughout the year, and it's usually twice a year in most cases. And especially when it's around the holidays, we typically decide, okay, it's Christmas, it's giving season. But here's what I like to tell my clients. If you make a decision one time, just one Christmas, if you decide, hey, I want to take this money and pay off debt, you can have a different Christmas for the rest of the Christmases of your life. But we have to make that decision. And so I will commend my clients here is that they made that decision this month, that we are going to decide to take this extra money. We're going to pay off the debt that we have, and we're going to try to achieve our goal in 90 days to pay off all of our debt. So they took the $4,000 and they came and they ended up paying off their car. They finished off paying off their car, which was $5,500 plus one more credit card on top of that, which was $3,500 essentially that they paid off. Now, we're going to the last month. You wonder, okay, are they going to get there? Yes. What ended up happening is we still had the margin that we had. Well, also you have to think about this. They paid off their credit card. So what does that mean? Their margin actually increased because now they don't have the minimum payments and the large payments that they were making towards their credit cards. And so they ended up paying off in 90 days $3,900 for their last credit card. So they paid off 2 credit cards, essentially 3 credit cards, plus their car note, which was a big payment on their actual budget. And so at the end of this, did we accomplish our goal? Did they get exactly what they said they were going to get? And they actually paid off $14,200. If you can't see this, we'll make this look even better. This is what they paid off in 90 days. So what does the final result look like for them? Now they leave the program. They are now in a better place. They have paid off. They now have $3,900 in margin. They are now investing in saving their money each month and now building a portfolio and now building their also emergency fund that they can be prepared for. And then lastly, they have a financial system in place to where now, from now on, for the rest of their lives, they've sent texts to me saying, hey, you have changed our life. This system has changed our life. And that's what the goal was, being inside of the Earners Academy, is that gave them an opportunity to be able to change their life and be able to get into financial freedom and be in a better place. So thanks so much for tuning into this video. And if you want to check out more financial content just like this, be sure to check out these.